to the high school basketball postgame show, live from Pizza Hut on Fort Wayne Sports Station, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
It's the perfect wrap-up to a Friday night of high school basketball, hanging out at the Pizza Hut. We're at Southgate after Bishop Luers defeated Bishop Dwenger just across the road. And, of course, last week we were at Homestead for a big doubleheader between Homestead and Snider, both girls and boys. That had perhaps championship implications into both of those games. And we saw an unbelievable individual performance last Friday night. It was the second most points scored by Homestead Lady Spartan in school history. And that's a place that number 2 is not a bad place to be, because that is an amazing history of some individual talent. They've got a couple of missed basketballs and a number of other high honors there. And the young lady who did it is joining us now. And we'd like to have talked to her probably last week, but it took us a while to track her down. We've got her tonight. Myah Epps, Homestead senior, joining us here on the postgame show. And Myah, thanks so much for taking some time to talk to us tonight.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Let's go back to last week, because it was a historic performance, and I'm sure you don't want to dwell too much on the past, but we've been saving up this conversation for a week, so we've got to talk to you about that individual performance. It was unbelievable. At what point in that game did you know it was one of those nights?
I think, honestly, when I hit my first three, it just felt so good coming off my hand, and I just knew after that, just the energy. I love playing in front of crowds like that. It always is it's just it's extra. It gives me a little extra, when I'm playing. So it's fun, and I just kind of knew. I always love playing against Snider for that reason, because it's always a good crowd, and it's always a super, high-intensity game. So just kind of, I was feeling it after that first three, and I kind of knew from there.
You've been on the scene now for 4 years, and now you're a senior. There is no tomorrow. Do you feel a certain amount of pressure that comes along with that?
I wouldn't say pressure necessarily, because I have so many, people around me that are constantly, being positive and just telling me, obviously it's your senior year, but just kind of go out there and play free and have fun. So just not necessarily pressure, but it's definitely always in the back of my mind that there is no next year. So I guess going into postseason, it's a little bit, in the back of my mind, it's a little bit, I got to play with a chip on my shoulders, but other than that, not really.
I got one more question about the 42-point game before I turn it over to Doot here, who's dying to ask you a couple of questions. But they put the point totals up on the wall there at Homestead. Number one, were you tracking it? And number two, were you aware what the school record was while you were playing that game?
No, I wasn't aware during the game. I was so sad after. They interviewed me after the game, and they were like, "Oh, hey, Myah, how do you feel? You almost broke the record. You missed by 1 point." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." So no, I didn't know during the game. I don't think anybody knew during the game, actually. But no, it was sad, but it's okay.
Yeah, and of course, Ayanna Patterson owns that record. Good company to be in. Myah Epps joining us tonight. Myah, you follow it up. Obviously, tonight you guys get the 103-24 win over Northside. That was a strong showing, and I'm sure a lot of players got to play. Warsaw, you guys go on the road earlier this week, take down number 1 Warsaw, ending their 29-game home winning stretch. What was that like to follow it up? These big game mentalities. What is it about the big game for you, for this Lady Spartan squad, that in those moments you guys could really get together and do big things, get far in the tournament, win SAC titles? That big game mentality for this Homestead team. Talk about that for you and your teammates.
I would definitely say the first thing about Warsaw, it's always a game that's marked on our calendar. We've been playing against those girls for so many years at this point. And obviously the last time we played at Warsaw, it didn't end the way it did this year. So just kind of playing with that chip on our shoulder. Obviously we respect them and knew that they were a good team, but we kind of had a different level of energy going down there. And knowing that we were going to be playing in front of, almost the whole city of Warsaw, all of that, I think it added to it. And we had so much energy. We came in, we played together, and we knew exactly what we were going to have to do. We were going to have to play defense, and obviously Josh had a really, really good first half. And so after that, we knew we were going to have to come in and stop her from, having another big second half after that too. So just coming in and staying focused as a team, we knew both teams were going to go on runs and stuff, but we stayed really together and focused. I think that was honestly one of the best games we've played as a team this whole season, and maybe in our entire careers. It was really good. The ball moved. It wasn't sticky. We were hitting our shots, playing defense. It was overall really, really good for us.
What is the key to your Homestead squad? And I say that because you've gotten pretty comfortable with the same group of young ladies. I mean, we see the same roster now for a couple of seasons. What do you need to do collectively to reach your potential?
That's a great question. I think, honestly, us playing together for as long as we have gives us a little bit of an advantage over people just because of, the chemistry that we have. And, we know each other's tendencies. We know what we're good at. We know our limitations. So I think that's definitely one big thing. And just, trusting each other. I think trusting, us in our roles, knowing roles is a big thing for us, too. We've obviously been working, on our defense and making that, a statement thing about us. When people see Homestead, we want them to see defense because it's one of the most important things in the game. So that's one thing that we've been working on all season. We've been preaching, Coach Parker's been preaching details. Little details are the most important things that we have to do because if we do those better than the other team, then we're likely to win the game. So, yeah, those are definitely good keys for us.
Yeah, Myah, talk about your maturation as a basketball player. You've committed to the University of Louisville, headed there next year. That experience from big schools giving you feedback through the recruiting process throughout. Ultimately, like I said, you commit to Louisville. But that process, what feedback do you take from some of those big-time coaches that have helped you as a basketball player get ready to go from the high school level to big-time college basketball next year?
I think one of the biggest things that I've heard is just about my motor and being in shape. That's probably the biggest thing I've heard because it's such a big jump from high school to college. And strength as well because obviously that's also a big difference in high school to college. But as of feedback, I would say definitely just shooting and being able to handle the ball because going into Louisville, I'm obviously going to be a guard. So those are big things that I've heard from them. And just as I've been going through the recruiting process, they've just been, kind of watching my film, and as they've come to my games, they've told me just about, everything that you can hear, from college coaches. Continuing to get stronger, continuing to get faster, and things that they kind of expect for freshmen coming in, and then more things on top of that we can work on when I get there.
Sure, and I wasn't at your signing day, so I'll ask you now, what was it about Louisville that made you that right fit for you next year?
I think just their consistency was the biggest thing for me. They were consistent from the moment that they started recruiting me. They showed me how much they loved me and how much they really trusted that I could come in and have an impact for them. I really love how they give freshmen the opportunity to play. That was a huge turn on for me with them. That, it's Coach Walls, he'll give any freshman the opportunity to come in and work hard and play. And then I don't know. I really love their fan base. Everybody is so supportive. They average, 1,100 fans a game. It's insane. So it's just, it's great. It's amazing. I'm so excited to go there.
Yeah, well, it's been fun to watch you. And like I said, we were there last Friday night against Snider with you guys and seeing your 42-point game. And we followed your career all throughout. And now your senior year, getting ready to play Louisville next year. Still a lot of basketball to play with the Homestead Lady Spartans. But best of luck to you and your teammates the rest of the way, Myah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me on.
All right, thank you so much. Myah Epps, the talented guard from Homestead.
Thanks for listening to our interview with Myah Epps of Homestead High School. For more player and coaches interviews, as well as a roundup of scores on every Friday night in high school basketball, be sure to tune in to the Parkview Sports Medicine High School Basketball Postgame Show every Friday night on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.